Good afternoon. I want to get on here, kind of talk about, what just happened. And I want to talk about the optics. And so you guys can see me. If you can hear me, please let me know. I'm going to let people jump in here and let's talk about the story that I just put in there. And let's talk about what it means and let's look at the optics. And so I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys can see me, please let me know. And so here we go. So I put a information that I just got today through Google Alerts. If you don't know about Google Alerts, they're a really, really useful tool. And so I got a Google alert, and it was actually about Measure 114 this time, which I was kind of surprised because the last couple weeks it's the Google alerts because I have them set for Measure 114. They haven't really been about Measure 114. And so with this, this is kind of a piggyback story to the one yesterday with the FBI basically saying that they will temporarily help the state of Oregon with the fingerprint process when it comes to Measure 114, And so this was a definite about face from the FBI. And so if you guys can see this, please let me know. Not seeing comments. If you guys can just let me know because that's what helps gets this message out. Interaction is what helps spread the word. And so, one thing I want to focus on today is the optics. Okay, the optics is, they know this is unconstitutional. They know that they have done everything in their power to strip you of your 2A rights, and they've been very, very effective. I mean, the only thing that we've got that's our saving grace here is the fact we had that TRO, that temporary restraining order out of Harney County, almost a year ago. Hey, Jim, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And, so they've done everything they can to manipulate this situation. They've used the media, they've used school kids, they've used Lift Every Voice, they've used all these different resources that they have at their disposal to affect the outcome of this trial. And a lot of times, leading up to the trial, my biggest thing is they're gonna handle this trial in the court of public appeal, in a public opinion, right? So a lot of their stuff, they cannot debate us on the factual information. They have to use fear, emotion. They have to tug at the heartstrings. That's the only way they can win. Okay, that's the only thing they have. They don't have the data. There's no data that supports their positions. They have to bring in the fear and the emotion. They have to, prime example is I submitted this email today from Moms Demand Action saying that this rule would have saved all these lives. Though the guy committed murder. Okay, so what rule is going to save a life when the guy's already hell bent on killing people? So it's fake. And what we have to look at is how they're going to use this information and manipulate the story and how they're going to use it to control the narrative. Okay. The narrative is going to be really, really important. Okay. So going forward, until we get the actual, ruling from the judge, okay, we have to be aware of, they are going to be celebrating in the media. They are, they don't have any good information. This is all hypotheticals. It's the information that I'm presenting to you is about as valid as, hey, Ricky, thanks for being here. Is valid as the information I'm sharing with you. It's all hypotheticals, right? This is the way that I see the thing. This is through my lens, my optic. Okay. And so that's in, I don't feel that I'm wrong. I don't feel that I'm off. I feel that I'm I have a pulse, I have my fingers on the pulse, so I kind of know, what they're doing, and so I feel confident talking about it with you. And obviously, I'm not trying to spread any rumors, but we have to understand what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do. Hey, Mike, thanks for tuning in, guys. You guys like commenting, sharing. This is what gets this information out, and that's how we get more people involved. And ultimately, I feel they're going to lose. And hey, Jennifer, and I think they're going to lose. But what they're trying to do is they are in the bottom of the ninth. Okay, that's why they got the FBI involved. I don't know if that came from the Biden administration, that he basically leaned on the DOJ, where the FBI had to, basically get called out the FBI that they had to be a part of this. And I really feel that they are they're going to lose. And I want you guys, obviously, this is we've been waiting 60 days. We've been very, very patient. You guys have been great. And I appreciate the fact that, we're not blowing up the group by saying, hey, has anybody heard yet? Hasn't, we've been really, really patient. I know it's been very, very hard because, we don't know what we don't know. And so I feel in this situation, if we're looking at the tea leaves, they're admitting that they did not have all the information to present to the judge at the time of trial. We look back at the story yesterday from the FBI, where the FBI is basically temporarily helping the state of Oregon to be able to implement Measure 114. Okay, that's fine and dandy. You changed everything less than a week before the ruling was supposed to come out. Okay. The problem is you don't have the permit to purchase program ready to go. Okay. And that was the whole point of my post just a little bit ago. Okay. Is a right delayed is a right denied. Okay. This is our hill to die on right here. Right delay is a right denied. The moment, if we are delayed or denied our ability to buy a gun because of a permit to purchase, and they don't have the program ready to go, they are denying our rights. Okay. So that's where we have to stand in solidarity. We should be talking to our local FFLs. We should be, communicating with them and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. And go down there the day, and this is a worst case scenario. I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but we should have contingency plans in place. Okay. Obviously my heart tells me that we're going to be victorious in this situation, but what they're trying to do, and I guarantee what they're going to do is, if they do not get the ruling that they think that they should get, it's either the DOJ or, Ellen Roosevelt, the Attorney General, the state defendants, lift every voice. If they do not get the ruling that they think that they are allowed and they're due under the law, because of the way the law is written, then they have the scapegoat. The scapegoat is the judge. Okay. The scapegoat is, the citizens of Harney County that elected this judge. And this judge, I guarantee, he's a fair man. He's a good man. He understands his responsibility to his constituents. I have tremendous respect for the man, but what they're trying to do is they're going to paint him as a radical. They're going to, heaven forbid. And so, God, please protect this man. Okay. He's doing a really tremendous job on our behalf. It's not an easy job. And at the end of the day, he's going to be the bad guy. And so the state of Oregon is not going to accept their part in this position. They're not the state defendants, the attorneys, they're not going to admit that they tried a bad case over there in Harney County. They're not going to admit that they didn't present the best witnesses. They didn't. They're going to have. I mean, they had 40 people. They had 40 people, and if they lose, it's not going to be their fault. There's not going to be any accountability there. We've already seen it. They've probably surpassed $2 million, between $2 and $3 million in litigation fees. Okay, not a single life saved, right? And what they're going to do is, now it's going to be somebody else's fault. It's going to be this judge. Okay, it's going to be the judge's fault. He should have sided with the people that are losing, that are dying in Portland. That's going to be their narrative. It's not going to be the fact that they presented a flawed case. And God bless Tony and his team, Tyler, and what they did, because they did an amazing job, and we should be celebrating. And no matter what happens, we should be celebrating the fight that young attorney did on our behalf, because that was pretty spectacular. And so that's where, we have to understand optics. They don't just put out stories for, they do it for clicks and likes and everything like that, and to sell ads. They're very strategic with the messaging, though. You'll see, and it's just funny. This story comes out after the story that came out yesterday with the FBI. Okay, so what they're trying to do is they're trying to celebrate, and they're trying to basically, fluff up their followers and their supporters and say, hey, we're still in this fight. Okay, this is good news. The FBI is going to temporarily come in there, and they're going to help, save lives of Oregonians by delaying the rights of law-abiding citizens. They're gonna be the heroes. Okay, the problem is it's not going to be enough. Okay, it was a bad strategy from them. They got lucky that they had a sympathetic judge in the federal trial. The judge that did not understand the Bruen decision and how it related to Measure 114 in common use, and so they thought since they were victorious there, they were going to have to, they're going to try that same thing here in Harney County. And the problem is they didn't know what they were getting into. They had all those silver-tongued devils in those expensive suits that stepped in there, and they got their asses whooped. And that's what happened. And so, 100% right here, this right here, because it never ever should have gotten to this place. Okay. It never ever should have gotten to this point. It should have gone to rules. The Oregon State Legislature and the Oregon State Police, they should have developed the language and the verbiage. So there's nothing that violates already Oregon revised statute. It should have never ever gotten to this point. But the problem is we had the Attorney General, Alan Rosenbaum. We also had Shemaiah Fagan, the Secretary of State, that said, oh, this is what the Oregon Constitutional said, ram it into place 30 days upon passage. Okay. This thing was less than 1% passage in support. Okay. Do we have a clean voters roll? No, we don't. There's a lot of fraud. Could you prove that this thing passed, especially as closely as it did? Show us, and so, that's the thing. Okay. So let's go, it's really, really important is the optics here. And we have to stay rallied. We have to stay focused. We're at the bottom of the ninth. Okay. We're waiting for that ruling to come out. And I feel what the state of Oregon just did with that, the information that they presented, it was also in the story today, is they don't have everything in place. And so now it's like a Hail Mary, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that the judge sees through that and understands that if, the only thing that's going to save us in this situation is that temporary restraining order. And so the status quo needs to stay in effect, which is, right now, everything stays the same and nothing changes. And so that's where we have to understand this optics. But we also understand the media is getting ready to sell ads. They're getting ready to fire up their bases. We're seeing increased violence. There's many different ways this thing can go, right? So they can, in reality, the stuff that's happening with the mostly peaceful protests, for Palestine and all that stuff, what's saying that they couldn't change the messaging, and do a pivot there because they already have the people enraged, and what's stopping them from changing the messaging to they do a 90-degree spin, and now they have mostly peaceful protests when it comes to, our gun rights, and the fact that Measure 114, the TRO was upheld, and I'm just speaking hypothetically. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I want you to understand how these optics work. And we have the media, we have Lift Every Voice. They work very closely with the media. They're looking for a fall guy. And they also believe in weaponizing the message. And that's happened. We've seen that for years. And so, the biggest thing we can do is just understand that, start paying attention, start watching your circles. Are you seeing things happening? Are they changing the messaging? Are the rallies changing from the Palestinian protest to something else? So just watch. There, a lot of this stuff is going to be in the public's view. And so I think what's really, really important is we just look out and just know that, it's not over. It's far from over. And I think it's really, really important is we stay we stay focused on the task at hand, which is making sure that we get the ruling that we need. If we don't, then we have to have a contingency plan. I'm, my thought is going to, file a lawsuit, or not necessarily filing a lawsuit, but be a party of the lawsuit, a class action lawsuit. We can do it civilly. We can, obviously I'm not an attorney. I play one here for you guys, but I definitely think it would be a smart move to spend resources that way and hold them accountable civilly. And the fact of the matter is, they think that they can continue to do what they do because they haven't been checked. And I feel that we have to do something to check them and say, and make it uncomfortable for them to file this stuff in the future. Right. Because this is not going to be the end. If they get this and violent crime doesn't go down, then they're going to come for something else. It's never going to end. And no, there hasn't been a ruling. So Teresa, no, there hasn't been a ruling. Nothing has changed. Everything is good. Sorry. I'm glad you're here. I'm just kind of talking about the optics, and the optics is how the media is going to start massaging the message. And so we have to be aware of that. We have to understand that, most of, like I saw in the story today, the guy talked about clips, he's talking about high capacity clips, and, that's, they don't even know what they're talking about. They're just putting stuff out because they are desperate to sell ads. Okay. They are desperate for that money that's going to come in after the ruling on Measure 114. I guarantee after Measure 114, if this thing, if it goes to appeal, which it's going to go to appeal, no matter what happens, it's going to be appealed. They're going to continue writing these fluff pieces because they put that Measure 114 in the metadata, and then we get those Google alerts, so it's just a way for them to, because they're struggling. I get emails every day from the Oregonian saying that I could join the Oregonian for $1. Like, they are hemorrhaging money because of the crap that they peddle, and good for them. I hope they go out of business. I really do. So yeah, I really believe that, Darren. I really believe that. And, part of it is, the Harney County residents just know that you guys elected a good judge, and I'm hoping that we get the ruling that we need. And I feel like this is just another sign that they're going to lose. The fact that they can put out a message like this less than a week before, and they don't have anything in place. The fact of the matter is, I still can't do live fire. I can't get my permit to purchase if that's what I was inclined to do. And so that's the problem. That's where this whole thing is ruined us. So yeah, Brad, hey, I hope you're doing good, man. Yes, I saw that. And that's what brought this whole conversation up. I saw that. That's a capitulation by the FBI. I don't know how that, we're talking to Brad, the sheriff, right? He's got what? You got 6 deputies? You got 6 deputies in your county. And now, and what I saw from the FBI is it has to be law enforcement that will submit these fingerprints. Okay. So now let's say you got 6 deputies, Brad, in your county. You're pulling people off the road to do the background check. Also to, yes, 6. So we got 6, and your county, if I remember correctly, is 800 square miles. And so the fact that now you are going to be put in a position where people's lives are going to be on the line because they depend on your deputies, but now you got to play, administrative and submit fingerprints to the FBI. That's dangerous. And that's not going to help the situation. That's going to impact these smaller counties. Going to happen the same for Harney County. Has 10 deputies. Okay. 10 deputies, and they got like 10,000 square miles that they have to patrol. Okay. And so temporary, I would imagine this is going to be like what's called a stopgap measure. So they're going to give them X amount of time to, come up with the whole process and the protocol, right? And the problem is they've had a year to do it. We've been arguing about this stuff for a year almost. So why don't you have anything in place? Um, yeah, yeah, right here. Ugh. So we pray. So we pray, and we pray that we get the ruling, we get a righteous judge that does the right thing to help protect us and our 2A rights. And by protecting our 2A rights, he also protects his community, because we're not pulling resources off the streets to do stuff that's not funded for one, right? They don't have the funding in place to do so, and they don't have the manpower in place to do it. That's another reason. So we got two reasons right there that I just came up with at the top of my head as we're talking right now. And so, this is a big problem, and we just got to stay focused. We got to stay positive. We have to understand that we're still in this fight. As much as they're trying to beat us down right now and make it look like they are in control, they are not in control. If they were in control, why didn't the FBI have this in place when we went to trial in September? Okay, I'll preface. I mean, this is a big tell for us. Okay, and we're talking about the optics. If this was a slam dunk to have the approval from the FBI, even if it's a temporary measure, why wasn't it in place when we went to trial in September? And so that's where, I really, really think that we have to just look at the tea leaves here, understand that they are struggling, they are on life support, and they're going to get a ruling that they do not want next week. Okay, that's my prediction solely. This is coming out of my mouth. This is nobody telling me this. This is me looking at the information, the way the information is presented to all of us. Okay, in the media. Okay, so just getting here. Hi, Colleen. Nothing has changed. I'm just talking about optics. Optics are really, really important in this situation. Okay. So, you know, that's kind of where we're at. So, nothing's changed. We will know more hopefully next week. And, obviously stay up to date as soon as I hear something, I will let you know. We will talk about it. And I was gonna have a video, and I was gonna do it with Tony to kind of celebrate, or whatever happens. I was gonna do a video with Tony to kind of talk about it with you guys. He's on vacation, and so I'm gonna give him his piece with his family, and I will handle all of this. And I'm hoping that I get this information away and I can break it down, the way he would want me to break it down. And so, that's kind of the thing. It's just we're still in holding pattern, and it's my hope that this continues. And I feel, well, that's a good thing. I mean, right there. I mean, in reality, there isn't enough for this thing to even go into effect. And I don't know if Brad's still here or not, but there's going to be a live fire component. There's got to be a safe handling component to this. And that's the part that the state of Oregon hasn't wanted to talk about because of the liability that's involved. You're going to have people, there's people that might want to go buy a firearm that have zero experience with a firearm, that have never handled a firearm, but they have the right to go buy a firearm. Okay. Because they have a 2A right. Okay. So now you have people that might have finally wanted to buy a gun because now it's going to be extremely difficult for them to buy a gun. And so they don't have any experience. So now you're going to have law enforcement or whatever instructor they're going to certify to, provide this part of the training. And so now you're opening up that instructor or that agency for liability because now these people are handling guns. So that's kind of the liability hot potato that nobody's wanted to talk about. And in the obviously the lane, like the sheriff's organization, they put out the online training. They charge you $60. It still does not meet the requirement for me to get my permit to purchase. Okay. So it is flawed. It is broken. It is, I mean, literally, let's play hypotheticals here. So we have close to 80,000 people. Oh, wow. Don't even have a public range. And this is coming from the sheriff. And a man that I truly respect, and he's a man of his people, for his people, by the people, and he is not going to have the capability to do what they're requiring of him, because of how poorly written this law is. And so we shouldn't be a week out from the hearing. Huh, perfect. This just gets better and better. um, we shouldn't be a week out from hearing about our fate and now starting to talk about, range capacity, or, the permit to purchase process. Like, this should already be public knowledge. This should already be well publicized. This should, you know what I mean? It's not your fault. It just shows how broken this system truly is, and what it's going to lead to is a denial, and a denial of your rights. And so that's where we've been fighting for so long, is this delay. Because it's going to create a delay. I mean, let's say, we have, I want to say, we're doing the data not too long ago. We have, half a million, law abiding gun owners in this state, right? And none of us have a permit to purchase. Okay. So what happens? Let's say this thing goes into effect, and we decide that we want to be compliant, and we go try to get our permit to purchase, just so we can go buy a firearm, because we collect firearms, or it's a hobby for us, or some of us need a gun for self-defense or personal protection or livestock protection. Depending on, where you are in the state, is what your firearm, what purpose it serves, right? And so now there's going to be this bottleneck. You have, 6 deputies in Mr. Lurie's county, and now he's going to have to train. He's going to have to put on a class. He's also going to handle the live fire component. He's also going to issue the permits, right? And he's also going to, submit the fingerprint process, or the fingerprints, to the FBI. So there's all these things he's got to do, and protect his constituents. Okay, how are we going to do that? And so, I just think it's really, really bad, and we just gotta just keep our fingers crossed. Let's say our prayers, and just know that, we're still in it. And, obviously it's going to go to appeal no matter what happens. Whether I'm hoping it's going to be them appealing, because we get the ruling and this TRO stays in place. That's really the best case scenario for us. And yes, this is the deal. Okay. So there's going to be a separate lawsuit. Okay. So the judge this is what's called a facial challenge. Okay. He's looking at Section 1, Article 27 of the Oregon Constitution, which talks about our Second Amendment rights. And also he's looking at Measure 114. And it's like, is Measure 114 facially a violation of Section 1, Article 27 of the Oregon Constitution, or if it's constitutional? That's what he's ruling. Okay. There will be a separate lawsuit in regards to the implementation. Okay. So, the fact that, and that's where all of us going to buy a gun, when we can't, because if this thing gets jerked, that's where we're creating standing. That's where we have, a class action type lawsuit, where we go after them, and every one of us that try to buy a firearm that were delayed or denied, that's where we have, because there's been a grievance. There's been, I forget the term. My mind's drawing a blank, but we've been affected by, Measure 114. And so that's where, this is what's really, really important to know, is this is just the facial challenge. Okay. So he is looking on, is Measure 114 constitutional or unconstitutional? Okay. The federal case, there was a little bit different requirement, because it was a federal case. She ruled that was constitutional. That was a bad ruling. Okay. She is going to, standing. There was another term that I was looking for. I'm just drawing a blank, but yeah, all of us, if we all go to buy a gun, and we're denied because we do not have a permit to purchase, that's where we have standing. And so that's kind of where, you live in Dallas. Yeah. Yeah. That's how bad this is. And so this will do nothing. I guarantee the day this thing goes, if this thing, like hypothetically, this thing goes into effect, and they pulled out the TRO and this thing goes into effect, and you and I are a criminal for having a 10 round magazine outside of our home, there's still going to be shootings in Portland. There's still going to be shootings in Salem. There's still going to be shootings here in Eugene, because law abiding citizens are not the ones committing these crimes. It's criminals. And so this is never, ever damages. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Right there. Thanks for tuning in on YouTube. Yes, we would have damages. Thank you for that. That's where I was like drawing a blank. I was like, had so much in my head that I was like, oh, what is that? So obviously I'm not an attorney. I just play one here on YouTube and Facebook. So thank you for that. So we would have standing because there is damages. We had damages. And so it's just another part of this saga. And so it's not over. We're still in it. We just got to understand what the optics, okay? The optics are telling me, okay, from my experience, the two stories that I just saw come out, the one yesterday about the FBI, and the other one is, the one that I saw today, they're going to lose. That's what that tells me. And that's where, you know, and yeah, I got to see who I would see if we'll figure that all out. Hopefully, hopefully it doesn't go that route. I mean, obviously we're gonna have to set up for the appeal when it comes to the state, because they have, they'll spend all of your money, all of your tax money to make sure that they do not lose, because there's a lot of people that are watching this all over the country. I guarantee right now there is legislation being penned right now that's waiting on the outcome of this bill. Okay. And if this thing is struck down and it's ruled as constitutional, I guarantee there's going to be other parts of this bill that's going to happen other parts of the country. We could look at Illinois, we could look at New Jersey, Hawaii, all these other California would be another. Washington would do the same thing. And what they've started to kind of do is now they've caught on to the old criminal. It used to be everything was grandfathered in. Okay. If you had a magazine, you had it before this date, it would be grandfathered in. Oregon is one of the first states, besides New Jersey, I believe, where they actually made it a criminal penalty. Okay. Where if I'm in possession of this magazine, even though the law was passed when I bought it originally, there was no law. It's a criminal offense. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to just entrap and ensnare people. This is, the way we look at this is a war of attrition. This is not like a 1-year fight. This is a 5 to 10-year fight. It's going to cost lots of money. It's going to cost lots of resources. It's going to cost lots of people getting involved. And so that's kind of where we're at. And I hope you guys are awake. I hope you guys are seeing what's happened in the last year. You guys are paying attention. I think for the most part, you guys are. But you have to understand that they're not going to stop. They feel that their cause is so righteous, that they will stop at nothing to make sure that you're disarmed. That's how rabid these people are and how fanatical they are. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm going to go through my comments real quick, and then I got to get back to work, but I just want to jump on this. Yeah, Tony, I totally agree. I don't think any sheriff is fully staffed. I don't think any of our law enforcement is at capacity. And so, that's just unfortunate, because it puts everybody at risk, right? We don't want to see anybody get hurt, and we want people to be safe. What amazes me is how the Oregon State Legislature is now starting to come around to Measure 110, and so they're going to start talking about that. And Teresa. Hi, Shauna. Give me 1 second. This right here it's sad. It's because we're so busy trying to survive. We're busy raising our families. There's busy, not wanting to be a part of this process. And I get it because it's frustrating. You feel like your voice doesn't matter, but like if we don't know and we don't get involved, we can't complain about the results. You know what I mean? And that's the hard part. So for you, Shauna, nothing's changed. And we're waiting. So probably by Thanksgiving, which I did a video the other day, I was thinking it was going to be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving because they'll take the long weekend to let everything kind of simmer down. And so that was my thought originally. And then I saw a story to that day that they're trying to come up with the ruling by Thanksgiving. And typically that's what they do. They do it nationally. It's always on you look for some bomb to drop, like literally the day of they go to vacation, right? It happens every time, So, um, that's kind of the thing. I just I appreciate you, Kim, and we're in this together. No matter what happens, like we're gonna go down. Like this ship's going down together. So where we go, we all go, right? So if we lose, we're all losing. So I don't want to think like that. I want to stay positive, right? Because I know, at the end of the day, I know. Hey, Larry, how you doing? It's been a while. I hope everything's going good. Um, I I know what my Second Amendment rights mean. Like I know how they've been interpreted, and so that's where I feel good about it. Hey, Paul. And so that's where it's going to take these courts. What I would love to see is some of this stuff go all the way to the Supreme Court. I wish the Supreme Court would give us a ruling which would shut all these things down. I wish we would just have the Supreme Court say our rifles are in common use. They're completely legal. F off. That's what I wish I would see from them. And same with my magazine capacity, in common use. Okay. In common use. That's the key term when it comes to the Bruen decision. Okay. Heller decision. I can keep a gun inside of my home however I see fit. So that does not mean I have to properly store my gun like Oregon says I do. Okay. So there's all these different infringements that, if we had some good rulings, we could pick a lot of this stuff apart, So Rome wasn't built in a day, and none of this stuff is going to unravel in a day. It's just going to take time, and we just got to be patient, but we have to understand how the media is being influenced. Standard capacity. Yes. Standard from the factory. Okay. And I hate the term LCM. I hate that term. I do not speak terms of restriction. Okay. They're never going to stop ever. This is generational. You just think about this, okay? Think about this, okay? I want this on your radar before I'm going to wrap this up. Is look at the next generation. Okay, the fight that we're in right now, and we're fighting this, we're holding this line. What if we were not there? Do you think our children or grandchildren would have the strength to do what we're doing right now? And no, I don't think so. I think this is all we have to hold this line, or there's going to be nothing left for the next generations. And so, this is our fight because we have the strength to do so. And so we just have to be smarter about the way we do fight. And we're going to fight forward. We're going to beat them in a way that they would beat us. We're going to use information. We're going to use technology to our advantage, and we're going to get better, and we're going to flood email inboxes. And, so that's, this is our fight. And you got to look at your neighbor. Okay. My neighbor, I look to my right, I look to my left. Okay. The people that are on my right and the people on my left, we're in this together. Okay. And I'm not, there's not anybody to my right or my left, but I'm just saying this, symbolically. Right. And, we are in this together, and this is something we're not going to give up. We're not going to concede. We're not going to lose. We're going to continue to move forward on them. And we're going to stand together. And so, it's about time. We've needed this, and there's good folks that are doing the work on our behalf. I've submitted something from Oregon Firearms Federation today. He still needs your help, for their lawsuit when it comes to the federal trial. So if you can kick them down some money, that'd be great. But there's a lot of people that are working together They might be in different lanes, but they're going the same direction. That's to stop this stuff. And so we all got to work together. Really, really important, especially with that short session coming up. So they're never going to stop ever. And, they're using the schools. I saw something today. I woke up this morning to something from a friend that his wife is a nurse, and they're actually using the nurses now to gather data to present to these anti-gun groups. So if you're in a nurse, or you have somebody in your life that's a nurse, look out for their official publications. It's coming out from them that they are supposed to be taking notes and passing this information on to the anti-gun groups so they can develop their own data. So yeah, 100%, Danny. Yeah, that's a good one. We have to we have to get smarter the way we educate too. Okay. We have to understand, what's a viable resource, and, what's going to be helpful, what's not going to be helpful, and so, that's where, these little tips and tactics, are going to be really, really important. So let's see. Oh, let's see this one. Yeah, do that survey. Walter, do that survey. I did see that measure, that IP3 or IP13, the one for hunting, it died, which was great news. So that tells me that they didn't have the supporter infrastructure that Lift Every Voice did. And so, that's really, really important to know, is that thing went away, which is good. And yeah, yeah. And so they will never understand how important guns are until they need that gun. And, I hope it's never too late for them. But they got to follow that up with action. That means you came to the gun. What are you going to do to protect your gun rights? Okay. Just because you align a certain way doesn't mean you can't break party to vote like a reasonable person, which there's nothing reasonable about Measure 114. It was radical from the get go. So there's nothing. It was all lies. It was all smoke and mirrors. And so, what are they going to do to break with their party to be courageous? And that's what we should do. Is we should be encouraging them to be courageous, to say, hey, come over to our side. I know it's not the popular. They want you to vote this way, but at face value, does this make sense? It does not. And so, you just got to they got to be put in there, and that position to understand how it can impact them going forward. So, you know, that's about all I got. Just watch the optics, pray for the judge, understand that he's got a really, really difficult job to do. And, hopefully, and I pray that we are on the side of the righteous. And I believe that we are. Okay. And we just got to stay focused. We're almost there. We're almost to a point where we know. And, once we know, we're going to celebrate. I'm hoping we celebrate. That's my hope. Either way, no matter what happens, we're in it together. So we're going to celebrate, or we're not going to celebrate. And then we're going to figure out what we do next. And so this is going to be a platform to do so. And I'm glad to have you guys here. Glad to have your trust, your belief in me and my abilities, and the fact that you still tune in and listen. So I was kind of, yeah, 100%. Hi, Ty. Yeah, Brad, enjoy the holiday with your family. Thank you for all that you do for Oregon. Have a great day. And I'm going to get off here pretty soon, but have a great Thanksgiving. Um, right here. Pray for the judge that he gets the protection that he needs from the violence, from the people that want to take away your rights. I'm not suggesting that there will be violence. but they're the people that want to disarm you. They're not rational people. They're not reasonable people. And, you know, I just worry about the safety of, I shouldn't talk like that. I shouldn't talk like that. So I apologize. That's, you know me, I speak from my heart. I worry about the bad stuff that happens because people don't get their way. And we see that in our society. There's no accountability. There's no acceptance of any kind of responsibility. It's always somebody else's fault. And so the fact that if there's certain parts of our country and our state that don't get the decision that they feel that they're entitled to, that's when they do things that are irrational. And we're looking what's happening with the mostly peaceful protests around the country right now. So, that's kind of the thing. So, oh, special ale. So that's where the thing is we have to just be prepared. Like that's part of our mindset, no matter what happens. Uh, Thank you, Brian. Yeah, I'm in charge of me. Same with you. You're in charge of you, and it's your responsibility, Brian, to be able to protect yourself and your family. It's not law enforcement. It's my responsibility to protect myself as well. And so, yeah, you're right, Tony. You're right. So, appreciate you guys tuning in. As soon as I hear anything more, I'll keep you guys posted. One thing I will say from this is I appreciate every single one of you being here with me and trusting me with the message and helping me with the message and so I appreciate everything you guys have done over the last year to be a part of this, and I look forward to standing together, and no matter what happens, we're in this together. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving, and I'm staying in this state because we can't all leave. There's been a lot of great people that have left, and I don't blame them. I understand, but we have to stay here to protect the state, and make sure that we vote and we have our voices be heard and we elect good folks up to Salem, so that's kind of where I'm at. So goodness taking what stand? Uh, how about this? I'll do it if you do it. How about that? You lead the way and I'll follow. How about that? Because I know you won't. And so I'm calling your bluff. So, I appreciate you, Tony. I just, nah, I'm good. I will help other ways. No, yeah, I appreciate it, Teresa. And I hope it's helped you. Hope you've learned. Try me. Okay, bet. Okay, do it. And you got to do it in flannel. You got to show up in flannel, though. That's your whole campaign speech. Is everything's in flannel. Okay, you'll get votes. I swear. You know. Oof. Could you imagine living in California now? Oof. I could imagine. So, all right. So I'm out of here. You guys have a. I will call your bluff, Tony. Yep. Nope. 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 Dan, you just got blocked. You just got blocked. And that's the thing. It's like I've talked to all these people that have wanted me to run. It's like, but you got to have more than just guns. I'm like, well, that's my platform, guns. So I don't think I make a good candidate because I just stand up there. What are you going to do for my gun rights? That's my only mantra. Fiscal, I'd be bad at fiscal. It's all about guns. So I don't know what I wouldn't be a good candidate. So I'm a one trick pony, unfortunately. So don't ever say that again, Dan. Just kidding. So yeah, a flannel and a cowboy hat. Yep. Boots. So, all right. I'm out of here. You guys have a great day. Keep your heads up. We're going to win. So Just know that. Okay. And then we'll celebrate together. We'll party. Okay. So I love you guys too. So you guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time with your families, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.